what a difference a week makes. A lot has happened in the last week. We had a big tractor demo in Dover last week, which got a lot of publicity. It was organised all at the last minute, and they went out in their tractors and they wrote on their trailers, no to bad imports and no to the New Zealand trade deal. Now, the best news for me about those protests is what the Telegraph reported about it, and I'll put a link into that article in the text below if you want to read it. But I'll summarise it in a minute. But I just want to mention something else that's happened, and that's the result of the by-elections today. Fantastic result. 2 new MPs arriving in the Commons who are pro-Europeans and progressive, and replacing the dinosaur Peter Bone, who I had the misfortune of sharing the Newsnight studio with a few months ago. Luckily he was on the video link and I didn't have to sit near him, but even on video link was bad enough. So great for Wellingborough and Kingswood to have 2 new MPs who are young, enthusiastic, progressive. This is progress. This is what we need. Fantastic news. Anyway, back to the farming protests. So it's all kicking off now, and the group in Dover are going to be going out tomorrow, and I do know what they're going to get up to. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I think it should get some good coverage, and I think it really is telling of how upset industry and businesses in Britain with this government. And I think we're about to really see things kick off now in Britain in a big way. I hope so, because we really need to do something urgently. Because the other thing that happened this week was, of course, we got the figures that Britain has officially tipped into recession. Those of us who are really awake to this fact knew that really we've been in recession for some time. I think that despite what Reform tell you and some of the Conservatives, immigration actually helps the economy. You've got people coming over and working and investing and contributing to the economy. So that is actually a helpful thing. It's not a cost. It doesn't cost us anything to have people coming over here to work. We should rejoice and welcome them. Getting back to the Telegraph article. Oh yes, you must read it. Do read it. It's so enjoyable to read an article where they're obviously panicking about the farming protests, and they're saying, oh my goodness, this is something to be worried about, Rishi. It's in Kent, the Brexit capital where Nigel Farage lives. This is a major problem. The port is there where all of these bad imports are coming in, including the ones which are illegal. And this is a major problem for them, a major Brexit problem. And this is great news because it really is going to the heart of the matter. And the group in Dover are calling for fairness, a fairness in trade and a fairness in Britain again, because Brexit, as I've explained in other videos, Brexit for our industry delivered complete unfairness. Wales and Scotland have had better farm support than English farmers. And that means, that's just appalling, isn't it? How can you be happy with that? And then also, Brexit delivered trade barriers for us to export and nothing for importers. There's no SPS checks until now. They've started to phase them in, but even they are voluntary, and I don't think it's going. I think what they're offering is a chocolate teapot solution to those checks. And the only real solution to the problem with the import checks is getting rid of them and getting a level playing field back with our biggest market and getting free trade back again. There is no Brexit that works, and it really is coming to that reality. And I think the farmer protests really show that some people that still believe in Brexit want to say that they believe we've got the wrong Brexit, but you keep going through all the different types of Brexits, and there is no Brexit that works. Every Brexit is a problem. The only way to get the best deal that we can is by being within the single market and the customs union. And once you're within the single market and the customs union, then you want to be able to have influence on that market, which is why you need to be in the political union. You know, this is it. Remainers always understood that remaining wasn't perfect, because there is no such thing as perfect, but being within the European Union was always as good as it got for Britain. There is no alternative for us, apart from working within the European Union and building things forward from there. Anyway, hopefully we are coming back to that, and we will continue to work for that. But in the meantime, I think what you're going to be seeing is an awful lot more protests and demonstrations from farmers who are ready to kick off. And us at Save British Farming, we may be ready to do some more demonstrations as well. Watch this space.
Jeff Gibson is the reluctant frontman for a group of like-minded farmers in Kent calling themselves Fairness for Farmers.
British farmers can't compete with cheap foreign imports, and we're going to be left in a situation where we cannot feed the British public.
He was behind the wheel of one of the 30 tractors that headed to the port of Dover en masse in their massies a week ago. This morning we're joining him as he feeds his pigs to get a better understanding of what he thinks they achieved and why they want to do it again.
We achieved exactly what we wanted to achieve and a lot more. We've got a message across to the British public, we've got our message into government, and for the first time in a generation I feel like we have a real chance for our voices to be heard. As an industry, we can no longer keep sitting back complaining about how bad things are and then not expecting something to change. We do everything as we can as an industry to produce the highest standards of food and welfare in the world, and we feel that that's being eroded away by terrible Brexit deals, a complete and utter lack of empathy from the UK government and the supermarkets to the way that they treat British farmers.
Every farmer has to deal with their own unique set of issues. Jeff's pig numbers are down because they didn't breed in the scorching temperatures last year, and then there's the issue of blue tongue in this area. We'll cover all of this in an upcoming film. In the meantime, he has to focus on creating a big visual feast tomorrow, whilst not annoying the people of Dover.
We're not going to be tearing up motorways. We're not going to be spreading government buildings in manure. We are going to do this peacefully, and we're going to exercise our right for peaceful protest. The police have no problem with that, and the general public, I think, are on side. I think the general public will rally behind farmers and come out to show support.
Right, come on guys, have a get.
There's plenty of debate on farming social media sites and WhatsApp groups about whether protesting is a good thing. Many are worried farmers risk losing the goodwill of the public. But the public also needs to understand what the farmers are protesting about. Who are the bad guys? Is it the government? Is it the supermarkets? Because every nation and every sector has its own issues. Jeff thinks it's very simple.
There is a single message buried in all of our gripes: sustainability. If we're not sustainable in our industry, there is nothing left after a while. If we can't make a small profit to invest into the future of our businesses, there is nothing left.
After we wrapped up, Jeff was heading off to meet the new chairman of the NFU, and he reported back it was a very positive conversation. He also heard that Tesco's in Whitfield near Dover has agreed for half of their car park to be given over to the tractors. It could be the start of something.